Hello everyone, it's the Game Morality Movie Boy back here. I'm back with another video. Today I'm going to do a movie review on another Pixar movie. I'm going to do a whole franchise. This is the next franchise I'm going to review that I was going to review after the Cars trilogy. And the movie that I'm going to be reviewing today is the film that basically put Pixar on the map, which is, Toy Story 1 from 1995. This was the first CGI animated film, and this was the mid 90s, so yeah, this was the first movie that Pixar ever made, and then it put them on the map. And I have to say that the Toy Story franchise is actually one of my favorite franchises probably ever, besides maybe Back to the Future or Star Wars. It's one of my favorite franchises. I especially like the first three films, but we'll get to those two films later on. But today we're going to be reviewing on the first Toy Story movie. And all these opinions, all these points I'm making, all subjective. If you have a different opinion on this film, you can always put it in the comments. Like I said, I'm gonna dive into my positives, my mix, and my negatives, which I don't have much negatives, I'll tell you that. And then I will give my grade to on the story, the characters, the animation, and the music. And I will give my overall grade. And if the film gets any bonus points, I will announce that if it gets bonus points. And if I recommend Toy Story, or if I recommend the film itself. And let's just jump right into the review, starting with my positives. And my first positive with Toy Story 1 is the message of Toy Story is still relatable to this day because this film is really about all about his jealousy with the rivalry in the first half of this film with Woody and Buzz with each other, not on the same page. And then at the end of the film when they become friends. In this movie, it's really relatable to both adults and kids. Like I said, Pixar does a wonderful job, balancing most of the time balance a story that is both relatable to kids and relatable to adults. Also, another positive is that the humor is really funny, and it's probably the funniest Pixar movie ever. I mean, I literally cracked up with all the jokes, like, "Hey, look, Buzz, there's an alien." That joke was really funny. It's just a funny movie, and I enjoyed the humor a lot. And honestly, I'd say it really fits the kid aspect of this film. Another positive is the musical score by Randy Newman, as I think it's one of the best Pixar scores of all time. I mean, there's not any iconic theme than "You Got a Friend in Me," and other songs were really good by Randy Newman. I love his score in this film a lot. It's really kiddish, but still kind of warm in a certain degree. I really do like the final act with Woody and Buzz having to catch up to the moving van. It's probably my third favorite of the franchise with the final act. It's probably behind Toy Story 2 or 3 in my regards, but it's still a really good final act with Woody and Buzz escaping from Sid's house and trying to catch the moving van so that they don't end up lost with the dog of Sid. I think his name is Scud. It just looks well. Even 30 years after this film, the animation in Toy Story still holds up to this very day. Even though, some of the animation does look a little questionable, mostly on Sid's dog, it still holds up extremely well, and it's a pretty impressive. I bet it was really impressive back in that time in 1995 for this animation, as again, this was the first CGI film ever. And another positive is that the story is very unique and fun. I really do enjoy the story of this film. It's just fun, unique. It basically kind of, gives us, a basic, idea of the Toy Story franchise and basically sets up for the sequels to expand on. I like the character arc with between Buzz and Woody. They are very relatable and interesting because it's kind of relatable to us, because we usually get all jealous of each other sometimes. And it's just interesting with their relationship when they became enemies and they all of a sudden became, becomes friends after a series of events. And the casting is amazing. And you can really feel like you're in this Toy Story world with, Tom Hanks and, any actor was really good in this film. The supporting cast with the other toys are all mostly likable. I like most of the toys, like Bo Peep, Slinky Dog. Um, I like Ham. I think, yeah, and I like the suggested romance between Bo Peep and Woody. Well, this romance doesn't really have is kind of in the background of the franchise. It kind of felt like the most prominent in this film because Bo Peep and Woody are kind of getting close to each other and changing. And while it took them until Toy Story 4 to really build a relationship, I like how it's, suggested in this film to build up for Toy Story 4. And I feel like the movie is also very well paced. It's only like 80 minutes or so. It might be one of the shorter of the Pixar films, but it's still well paced, as it doesn't feel too long or too slow, as it feels like an adventure, It goes from Andy's house, then to the arcade, then to Sid's house, and then finally to the moving van. It just feels really well paced. And the movie is a really great first film. This is my final positives. This movie is a very great first film for the studio's history, as it's the prototype for the future of Pixar movies, and it's the movie that started the trend of Pixar movies being smash hits. Yeah, because up until 2010, most of the Pixar films were smash hits, such as Toy Story, Toy Story 2, Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, Incredibles, Ratatouille, Wall-E, Up, and Toy Story 3. All 9 out of 11 films were all smash hits. And it's just a really great first film. It's like, of course Pixar tried to make this one really good. And I felt like they succeeded a lot and I really do enjoy this film a lot. And now we're out of the positives and we have moved on to a couple mixed aspects to this film. Really these mixed aspects are not too big. I mean, they don't really bother me, but here, my first mixed aspect is the CGI on Sid's dog. It's not really good. I mean, he kind of looks like something I don't really want to run into in like at night in a street. Well, I can excuse the CGI on Sid's dog because I mean this is the first CGI film, so it was really experimental with the CGI as you can't really get the CGI down in one attempt. I mean it's not like the CGI is horrible. It's just a little bit, not the best CGI, but it's certainly good. My other mixed aspect is Sid as the main villain as he's kind of interesting, as he's depicted as a kid who torments toys, even though he doesn't know that they're sentimental. I like his defeat by being scared by his own toys, but I much prefer the sequel villains of Toy Story 2 and 3 over him. I mean, he's interesting enough, but I don't feel like he is at the same level as, say, the Prospector from Toy Story 2 or Lotso from Toy Story 3. My final mix aspect is the character of Buzz and Woody in the first half of the film. As they're kind of just, annoying, but not really. I mean, it's important for the character arc, but I found Woody to be kind of annoying as he does try to murder Buzz at one occasion, and Buzz is kind of just, I get that it has to be important for the character arcs. I mean, Woody becomes, less like a jerk, and Buzz finally realized that he is a toy. But I just felt like it's just like the characters are just a little bit like I feel like they could have maybe toned down the annoyance a little bit, but I mean, I don't mind them. And plus, Buzz and Woody do eventually become way better in the second half, and I honestly do like the character arcs that they go through. And that's finally the last mix I have. I really only have one negative with this film, which is my least favorite character is Mr. Potato Head, and I don't really like Mr. Potato Head. He's not. I found him kind of just annoying. I mean, I understand that he's kind of like the secondary antagonist, as he believes that Woody killed Buzz and that he basically but I felt like, him threatening Woody that he's gonna hang Woody is a little far, and that he literally almost abandons makes almost throws, Woody out of the truck and almost abandons Woody's on the street. I just don't. I think it could have been toned down, but I mean, this is a very, very, very small negative with this film. But I just felt like Mr. Potato Head, could have the character could have probably been toned down a little bit. But that's really my only negative with this film. Like I said, this film was just really great, and honestly, it matches with the other two sequels. And now we are moving on to the grades I'll give Toy Story. The story gets an A plus. It's amazing. It's relatable. It fits with it does a good job balancing the relatability with adults and the entertainment for kids. And it just is a perfect original film and does a great job, building the world of Toy Story. And the story is just really heartwarming, so the story gets an A plus. Characters get a B. They're solid. I like most of the characters. I like the side characters. I like Woody and Buzz at the second half. Just Mr. Potato Head kind of brings the characters down a little bit, but I still think the characters are pretty solid all around. So the characters get a B. The animation gets a B plus. It's experimental, but it's still a fantastic film. It looks good, and it's just they did a solid job with the animation, so it gets a B plus. Music gets an A plus. I like Randy Newman's score. It sounds really good, and it sounds like it fits with the Toy Story franchise. And I will be giving Toy Story bonus points for the story and animation, so I'm gonna bump up the grade up to a 94.1%, which gives Toy Story a grade of an A, and my rating is a 4.705 out of 5. And I recommend to buy Toy Story or see it on Disney Plus. And that is my review for 1995's Toy Story. I really enjoy the film. I really think it's a great film, and it's not my favorite of the first three, but it's pretty on par with the other two sequels. And I enjoy Toy Story a lot, and it's one of my favorite films, and I like to go back to it. It's just, a good film and a great first film of the movie. And that is my review. And I will be trying to post new videos as soon as possible. My next video will be on the sequel of Toy Story 2, and this is the Morality Game and Movie Boy signing out.